Hey everyone, welcome to the Take Action Challenge. This is day one, and I'm going to take a moment to share this into the Facebook group. And okay, dun, 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 dun. So let me know if you're here live right now, and we are going to get started. And if you're watching the replay, also just engage with me as if you are live. The early part of this is making sure that we actually get this streaming into the Facebook group. Okay, there we go. All right. So if you are here, welcome to the challenge. This is day one of the 3-day Take Action Challenge. There will be prizes, so you do want to play along because I'm going to be giving away thousands of dollars worth of prizes. My name's Camy. I'm a life and business coach. If you have not met me before, welcome. And this also is going to be something that lives in a portal. So you might be in the future listening to me play this game in the future. And the intention here is that you take action. So I work with a lot of high achievers and perfectionists. So you know you are in the right place. If you've got some big goals, you've got some big dreams, you are an intelligent person, you're well educated, like you've got a lot going on upstairs, you're smart, but you tend to get stuck in overthinking, procrastination, imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough. And I want you to think specifically today of, is there something that you've been wanting to do? You want to write a book? Do you want to become a speaker? Do you want to finally get your business out into the world? And have you been procrastinating and why? We're going to figure that out today in today's training. We're going to talk about why we stay stuck. And I'm going to give you some homework so that you can start to break through on this. So let me know if you're here with me. Let me know if you're following along, and let's get into it. I want to make sure, okay, great. The people in the group, I'm just going to tag them to make sure that they see this. And then the replay gets sent out as well. Okay, so a couple of things to consider as we do this challenge. I'm always, okay, Bree is here. Good. Bree is here, so I know there's a human being actually watching. Hi, Bree. All right, so as you are tuning in, go ahead and set your intention. You can put it down in the comments. What is your intention for this 3-day training? What do you want to get out of it? Because I'm the facilitator, I'm the teacher. I always have an intention. I always know the people that show up are going to get what they came for. My intention is to show up for you, to be vulnerable, to tell you my stories as a coach, because y'all somehow think that I'm just some special magical unicorn, which I am. I am a magical unicorn, but I still have the same challenges. I still have to get coaching from my coach. I am still crying on my coaching calls, feeling like sometimes it's too hard. I don't know what to do. Help me, right? Like I still have the same thoughts. I still have the same human brain that you have. So I'm going to be telling you some stories, and I want to inspire you into action this week. So I'm curious what you want to get out of today's challenge. And if you're thinking about, do I already have a project in mind? Do I already kind of know the thing that I've been putting off? Do I already kind of know what I quote unquote should be doing? And let's set the intention that this week, within the next 3 days, you're actually going to do something about it. Okay. Because here's what I've seen. I have seen people, I'll do consults with them. So I give every client or potential client a free consult. And on that free consult call, we just talk about your goals. We talk about what they want, what they think is in their way, and why they haven't gotten there yet. And I remember this happened a couple of years ago, but I remember somebody saying on the consult that they had wanted to start a business for like 5 years, and they were talking to their husband about it, and they just weren't sure, and they already like did some of the research, took some of the steps, like saw how much it would cost to start the business, and somehow at the end of the coaching call, she got off the call, or the end of the consult, she got off the call, she went to talk to her husband, and her husband convinced her that she just wanted to be creative and that there's ways that she could just be creative within the household. and just, find some craft, just find them things to do to like keep yourself busy and be creative. And she allowed somebody to talk her out of her dream that she had for 5 years. And it's probably been another 5 years. So it's probably been 8 years now, if I'm thinking about her and her dream, where she allowed somebody to talk herself out of it. She said no to getting the coaching support. She let somebody else say, you know what? Nah, probably not. And what I think about is not the 8 years she's wasted, because really, time is an illusion. If you start today, if you just decide to do it today, it doesn't matter that you wasted 8 years. It doesn't matter that it took 8 years. But what I think about is her and myself and you. I want you to think about this. This is what motivates me. I think about being 98 years old on my deathbed, right? Like talking to my, I don't know, the young ones, the young ones around me, right, on my deathbed, and they're asking me like, what do I think about my life? Like, is there anything you want to say or any stories you want to share? And I'm, on our deathbed, we usually see the truth of what our life was. And every time I think about it, it makes me tear up to think I do not want to be on my deathbed not having given it all, not having written the book, not having shown up for the thing, not having like pitched myself for the $100,000 contract, to put myself in rooms with people like Oprah and Gabby Bernstein. Like I just do not want to have the regret that I did not take advantage of this life that God has gifted me with. And that if I had ideas and inspirations and things I wanted to manifest, I just do not want to go to my grave having those things still inside of me and letting fear take over and letting excuses take over and letting like those voices get so loud to say you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. I just refuse to let that be my story. And the reason I coach people is because those voices can get so loud to say you're not worthy, you can't do it, you're not educated enough, nobody in your family's done it. There's all of these stories, but I want you to think about your end of your life and how you will feel if you didn't really go for it. So when I think of that person who just decided to give up on her dream, I wonder, will she regret that someday when her kids are grown and they're asking mom about her life and her life story, and she might be, well, in my 30s, in my late 30s, I thought it was too late for me. I just thought, it wasn't for me. I let somebody talk me out of my dream. I let somebody who really loved me and really cared about me convince me to play it safe. And I just wonder how she'll feel about that. And so I want you to tap into that feeling right now of pain, because the number one reason why we stay stuck is because in order to change, we have to experience some type of pain. And let me explain. So I have a degree in molecular cell biology, and there's this theory of homeostasis. Homeostasis literally means inside the body, our body wants to stay the same temperature and wants to make sure our blood chemistry is the same level, because that is the thing that keeps us alive. We don't want things inside of our body to go out of whack. So homeostasis means literally staying the same keeps you alive. And in our ancestry, staying the same, going to the safe places to gather food, going to the same places for hunting, making sure you avoided dangerous places, those were the things that kept us alive. So when you're asking your brain and your body to take action, it is going to say, no, absolutely not. I don't want to. It's so scary. I want to stay the same. So there is a certain level of pain and energy that it will take to overcome your brain that's telling you don't do it. It's too scary. You can't. Here's all the negative outcomes. And you have to create enough pain and desire in order to move you forward. So here's what this looks like. I want you to think about staying the same. And I want you to think about how you will regret that in 5 years. I want you to think about if you decide to do nothing this year and the end of the year, you feel regretful. Everybody does this. They feel so regretful at the end of the year. They didn't reach their fitness goals. They didn't reach their business goals. They didn't go after it. I don't feel regretful at the end of the year. because every single year I'm investing in a coach. I'm investing in business mastermind, marriage coaching, personal coaching, right? To deal with my emotions. I'm expanding spiritually. So every year I'm going after it. I'm in the arena. I am fighting. I am falling down. I am failing. So if anything, at the end of the year, I'm like, wow, like I really, really went for it. I experienced the pain of growth and change. And I'm in the arena doing the damn thing. So even though I might feel disappointed, it didn't go how I wanted it to go. It didn't look how I wanted it to go. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. I know that I'm in there figuring it out. I know that I'm in there growing. And so you've got to think about making it painful for you to stay where you are so that it feels less painful to make the change. Because the action will have some pain to it, right? It's going to require you to maybe give up some television, stop scrolling on Netflix, stop buffering by eating too much food, right? It's going to ask you to maybe sit with your emotions, to feel your emotions instead of eating food. It's going to ask you to put yourself out there and become more visible. It's going to ask you to stand up on a stage in front of people and pitch your services. You might feel your legs shaking. That might feel scary and uncomfortable, and it might feel painful in the moment. But what is more painful is not going after your dream, not being able to say, I really went for it. So here is the number one thing. Hi, Dee. I see you're here now. I'm glad you found it. So we're going to go through 7 steps to change over the next 3 days. And these were taken from Tony Robbins. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, he's like, I would call him the grandfather of coaching now. I have followed him since probably 10 years. I listened to the Hour of Power every morning 10 years ago. That was like before I hired my first life coach. I listened to him in my ear all the time. The reason I really like him is because he teaches about changing your story, changing your state, having daily habits, having daily routines. So we're going to talk about all of that over the next 3 days. And I went to his Unleash the Power Within event in 2021. The end of the year, it was November. It was the same year I self-published and wrote my book. It felt scary. It felt vulnerable to write your book, to put it out into the world, to worry that it might not be good enough, and to worry that somehow that would mean I wasn't good enough. But here's the thing I was proud of. I did the damn thing. I wrote the book. I'm part of the 1% that has something in their brain that puts it out into the world. And I've worked with clients who have done this too. I have one client who self-published. We worked together to do that. I have another client who self-published. She's on her second book. We worked together to do that. And it can feel so scary to make that change. But one of the things that we did in Unleash the Power Within, the 3-day event, I think it was in Florida. I think it was in Tampa, Florida, 2021. We walked across fire. We walked across hot coals. And the way we did this was we changed our state in our body. We changed our physiology in our body. And I forget the temperature, but I feel like it's like 2000 degrees or something. Don't quote me, but like it's a ridiculous, like hot burning coals. Like it is a real fire. It's a real hot coals that you could really get burned. And if you go Google this, you will see that there are some people that did get burned. And they're like, I don't want to go to a Tony Robbins event ever again. But what I saw was I have the power within me to change my physiology, to change my state, to change my story, to visualize myself walking across hot coals. And the way we did it is we said, cool moss, cool moss, cool moss, cool moss. And we envisioned and felt cool moss on our feet instead of hot coals, instead of fire. So what we're going to do on today's call is I want you to think about instead of, right, the thing that's going to burn me, the fire, the thing that's going to scare me, you think about how you want to feel, how you want to show up, what it is that you desire, what you want to create in this world. So if you're taking notes, the number one thing that we're going to start with in order to get unstuck and to be able to take action is to know what you want and why. I call this a vision. Very simple. It's a vision. And I like to start with a 3-year vision. Where do you want to be in the next 3 years? And then if you really want to get wild and crazy, go for a 10-year vision. I just turned 40, so this is really relevant for me. enable me to say, okay, where do I want to be by the time I'm 50? And when I really think about it, I will be in those rooms with Oprah, Gabby Bernstein. I will be in those rooms with powerful coaches and leaders because of the way I showed up, because of the way I took consistent action. And the reason why I want this is because I know it will be a direct impact on the people that their lives will change as a result of working with me. So I want you to think about, for you, where do I want to be in 3 years? And most people, right, who have never done any coaching, never done any personal development, and that's okay if that's you. Most people are stuck because they will not define where they want to go, where they want to be, how they want to do it. And they're completely stuck because they still need to, quote unquote, figure it out. So the reason I'm giving you 3 days to figure it out is because you can figure it out in 3 days. Again, I just talked to another person. I chatted with her last year, chatted with her again this year. She's in the same exact place as she was last year. And she keeps telling herself, well, I just need to figure it out. I just need to figure it out. And I'm like, no, you just need to decide. You just need to decide and then go take action. There is no figuring it out. If you keep figuring it out, you will stay exactly where you are. You decide, you take action. You decide, you take action. You decide, you take action. You evaluate in between. You nurse your wounds if you fall and fail, but you have to decide and you have to take action. So I want you to think of a few of these areas, okay? If you're having trouble get started, if you're like, I don't know what I want. Hi, Carrie. Okay, good. I see Carrie's here too. If you do not know what you want, you can start with, what don't you want? You might know, well, I don't want to have a negative bank account. I don't want to work with people who don't respect me. I don't want to be scraping by paycheck to paycheck. And so then you want to think, okay, what is it that I do want? And these are like 5 key areas: health, money, relationships, career and business, and overall happiness. Okay, so if you're taking notes, health, money, relationships, career and business, and overall happiness. So if you know what you don't want, then you can define what you do want. And this person that I was just talking to, the reason she was in the same place is because she's like, well, I really want to teach a program, but I don't know what to teach on, and I don't really know how to do it. And so you got to decide, but what if I did know how? Right? What if I did know how? Or what if I don't know how yet, and that's okay, but I still get to decide what I want? What I did early on in my business, so I created my very first business in 2015. I hired my very first business coach in 2015. I was a health and fitness coach back then. I was a personal trainer, and I worked with people on self-love for their body, for their health, for their nutrition. And I just knew back in 2015, I wanted a 6-figure business. I wanted to make $100,000. I wanted to make $10,000 a month, and I did not know how, but I knew the direction I was going in. So for you, you can type in the chat if you want to, or you can wait and do the homework in the Facebook group. But I want you to think about, what do I want in health, in money, in relationships, in career and business, and happiness? And you can do this broad strokes today. You can look at all of them and you can actually define, okay, what do I want in each of these areas? But I want you to focus on 2, just 2 for this challenge, because we're only doing this in 3 days and we have to stay laser focused on getting a result in 1 or 2 areas. And then we want to focus on, okay, what can I do in the next 30 days to get this? So once you define, okay, this is what I want, now you have to ask yourself, why? And I was just coaching another client on this, and this happens a lot with entrepreneurs. So one of the key things for entrepreneurs is we just love not working for other people, right? Sometimes our motivation is, I just love working for myself because I love the freedom. And I say, that's great. It's amazing. But have you ever heard this quote where people say, entrepreneurs are the only people that will quit a job working 40 hours a week for somebody else so that they can work 80 hours a week for themselves? Sometimes that's what it is. In the first 5 years of business, sometimes that's what it is. Yes, you have the freedom, but you actually have to put in sales and marketing activity. You actually have to create offers. You actually have to do marketing, right? You actually have to meet people. So you can't just say, oh, I want freedom. You have to also tell yourself, why do I want to be in this grind? Why do I want to be in this race? I like to think about business like a marathon. Has anybody ever run a marathon or half marathon? I ran one back in 2019. I do not think I'll do one ever again. It was so hard. And it was in the summer. It was like August. It was so hot and humid in North Carolina. And it was raining. And it was a trail run. So it's like raining, it's muddy. I was already so like exhausted after the first 3 miles, and a half marathon is 13 miles. And I remember just being the whole time like, why did I sign up for this? Why did I do this? What is wrong with me? But I also remember being present. I remember like listening to each song, focusing just on the song, focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. Even though like my feet were covered in mud, I was losing the traction on my shoes. My feet were slipping down the side of the trail. And I was like, what am I doing? This is so hard. Why did I sign up for this? But it's because the person I become. I want to become the person who does not give up when the race is hard, when it's raining and pouring and it's muddy and it's hot and humid and you're getting a cramp. I just want to be the person who continues to expand and grow and it gets like the most out of life through the growth, through the hard times, not just the good times. Yes, Bree says I'm doing a mud run for the first time on Saturday. Yay, Bree. I'll be there with you. And for me, this one's going to be easy because I already did 13 miles. This is going to be 3 miles. This one's going to be easy, right? So I also want to do these hard things because then life becomes easier. Like general everyday life feels like, oh, okay. Like I'm going to get up and walk. I can do that because I've ran 13 miles before. So for me, I'm always thinking of who I want to become on this journey. So for you, as you think about this, why do you want what you want? And I like to ask this 7 times. Why? Why do I want? Okay, so for me, why am I a life coach? I'm a life coach because I want to help other people like how I was helped. Why? Because I was stuck in a toxic relationship. I hated my body. I never had good jobs. I never had money. I was always beating myself up. And somebody came in as my coach and changed all of that for me. Okay, why? I want to do this for other people because I want humanity to understand what they're capable of. Why? Because what I believe the most important thing for us to do on this planet right now in this time is to expand our consciousness. Why? Because when we individually heal and grow and we expand our consciousness, the entire world changes. There's more love, there's more giving back, there's more healing, there's more forgiveness, there's less violence. So what I do with one person impacts the whole world. I am changing the world one person at a time. So when things get hard for me, when I don't feel like showing up, when things happen in my business, I go back to those 7 layers of whys. And I'm like, this is what I'm here for. This is my purpose as a teacher. I can't not be doing this. This is literally what I'm here for. I'm a manifesting generator, a 1-3. I'm here to experiment and teach. It's literally in my human design. It's what I'm here to do. And then people are going to project onto me. They're going to think I'm amazing. 50% of people are going to think I'm amazing. 50% of people are going to project onto me how I'm not good enough. That is also part of my growth journey. And so I'm here to just be with that. Great. Project onto me. Tell me I'm great. Cool. I'm not going to allow that to like hype me up. And then also in the same way, people tell me I'm not great. I'm horrible. They didn't like what I did. I'm also not going to let that affect me. And that is my growth. That's why I'm doing this journey. So for you, I want you to think about what's the first level of why. Why do you want to do what you're doing in health, money, relationships, career and business, overall happiness? And you can type that in the chat just to get started. All right, and then the next part of this, who do I want to become? And think about why. Why do I just want to become this person? And this is important, especially with health, money, relationships, career, business, happiness, all of them. right? I'll give you an example here. Let's just talk about career and business because I made six figures back in 2023 and I was so proud of myself. I invested in a huge mastermind. I invested $25,000, the most money I've ever invested. And I was so proud of myself for getting in the room, for making the investment, for showing up, for believing in myself. And then I worked hard. I had to figure out how to sell, how to market, how to hold space for 18 clients at a time, how to hold space for clients quitting, right? Wanting refunds, which, just so you know, is a normal part of business. Nothing has gone wrong. The more you grow, the more you're going to have people see you, the more you're going to have people have opinions about you, the more happy and successful clients you will have, and the more clients you will have. It's just a percentage, right? You might just have 1% of clients, but as you grow, that 1% of clients who are unhappy will also grow. So who do I want to become on this journey? I want to become a person who is unfazed by business challenges. I want to keep showing up no matter what. So I made six figures in 2023. I had to learn the skills. And I remember very first year in business, 2015, when something would go wrong in business, I remember I had a launch. I launched this program called the Better Method, and it was all about like eating in a certain way, working out in a certain way, and like the easy way to change your body. And I remember I spent $300 on the landing page, which was a lot of money to me at the time. And I remember I launched it and only two people signed up. And it felt like such a huge failure. And I remember talking on a phone to one of my colleagues, another coach, and I just remember being really whiny and really victimy and basically kind of like giving up. And I remember that feeling lasting for like 3 months. I just like gave up. I was just like, well, whatever. I guess nobody wants this. And just like really took it personally, felt really bad about it. Like just thought, what's the point of this? And now, fast forward to 2024, I had a huge growth year in 2023, made over six figures. Then in 2024, I had what's called a breakdown year. So the breakdown year is when things get really hard. I had a panic attack last year. I had anxiety. I had a whole bunch of health issues. I could not sleep. Part of this was a result of burnout. And burnout actually comes from the way we're thinking, right? Hustling, the way we're thinking. I need to make money now. I need to do this now. I need to keep working. I have to keep going, right? And that energy is usually some type of trauma response. So as soon as I started to unpack and heal, I hired 4 coaches last year. I hired an intuitive coach, a hypnotherapist. I hired a health coach to help me figure out my, like, what was going on in my body. I hired a functional medicine practitioner to help get my testing done that found out I had low dopamine, low serotonin in my gut. So I was actually like tangibly having neurochemical imbalance in my brain, which was making me feel depressed. I had a panic attack because I had a bunch of stacked stressors on top of one another. But I am so proud of myself because I learned how to process panic. And because I learned how to process panic, and because I learned how to still sell $80,000 of coaching last year through depression, through anxiety, through panic attacks, I know now that nothing will ever take me out. So if I think about myself 10 years ago, where I got so depressed when 2 people signed up, I had refunds last year. I had negative feedback last year. Like I had all these things that brought up these trauma responses. And I met them. I looked at them. I faced them. I hired my relationship coach. I've been working with her for 2 years, but I hired her back on. And I said, let's do this deep somatic healing. She takes me into my feelings. And sometimes she's like, it's very interesting that you're wanting to dance around this feeling. And I now have become the person who's willing to feel any feeling, which means I've become a better coach. I can walk with people through their anxiety, their depression, their breakdowns, and hold space for them. So for me, I don't want everything to always be rainbows and daisies and sunshine. We all do, of course. But I see the value of going through a breakdown season. And now I can cry, right? Like I could have been crying an hour ago and still shown up for a training. That's what happened last year. My dog passed away. My dog passed away. I had a training the next day. I showed up for it. Not because I had to, but because I desired to. Because of who I wanted to be, I wanted to show up in the energy for people to let them know, yes, life is hard. And we can still move forward and take action on the thing that we desire because of who we are. So I want you to feel into this and feel into your why. It cannot be a basic why. So your homework is to go through these questions. What do I want and why? In the areas of health, money, relationship, career and business, happiness, and go deep. Ask yourself 7 times why and why and why and why. Ask yourself, who will this impact? Who will this impact? Will it impact your kids? Will it impact your future, your bank account, your story, your family, the community? Really think about how many people are going to be impacted by you taking action, by you moving forward. And then ask yourself, who do I want to become on this journey and why? Who do I want to become? And what I learned is throughout this experience is I definitely had a perception that the 6-figure winning version of me was better. I found this thought. I found out that I thought that version of me was better. People liked that version of me better. And that the sad version didn't deserve money. The sad version didn't deserve success. The sad version didn't deserve to have multiple 6 figures. And so I put myself in this punishment cycle. And this is where we're going to go into step number 2. So step number 1, know what you want and why. Step number 2, you've got to face the truth of where you are right now. And remember, this is going to be painful to look at, right? You might be like, ooh, I see how I made some financial decisions that got me here. But we need to see very clearly the gap where you are now and where you want to be. And Tony Robbins calls this language, physiology, and skills. Okay. So the way I think about this is very simple questions. How did I get here? What was I thinking? What have I been feeling? What actions have I been taking or not taking? And I would love to know for each of you in the comments, tell me what, for the next 3 days, tell me what area you want to focus on. Is it business? Is it health? Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it overall happiness? Let me know in the comments so I can coach you on this. But you've got to get really clear on like how you got to where you were. And I'm going to break down how I've reflected on how I got into burnout over the past, basically, I got into burnout, then I got into depression. And that's just a physiologic fact is when we are in fight or flight all the time, which is like hustle mode. I got to go, I got to go, I got to go, I got to work, I got to work, I got to work, right? And our brain is telling us, I have to make money today. I have to make money today. I don't have time. So for me, the 2 thoughts that caused burnout was I have to make money today and I don't have time. So those were the thoughts that drove my actions. And then the actions I took that affected my health was I don't have time, so I'm going to eat Chick-fil-A every day. And I would get Chick-fil-A delivered because I was like, I don't have time. I have too many clients. I love some Chick-fil-A, but it is not great for my health goals to eat Chick-fil-A every day. I think we can all agree about that. So for me, the thoughts were, I need to make money right now and I don't have time. Then the actions I took was ordering Chick-fil-A, telling myself I don't have time so I wouldn't get my workout in the morning. Because I would tell myself I have to make money, I would work until 11 o'clock at night. I would stay up on social media. I would post on social media about 4 times a day, but I wouldn't do it strategically. I would just be on social media all day long, trying to figure out the algorithm, trying to like show up more to make more money. So that caused me not getting enough rest, deciding not to actually disconnect from social media, deciding to step away from deep, deep meditation. One of the things that really propelled my career in coaching was becoming certified as an intuitive, which required me to meditate 6 hours, probably 10 hours a week. I was meditating at least 30 minutes a day, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 3 hours. where I would be meditating and being present and journaling and spending time in nature. And when I told myself I didn't have time, I took away the key part of my success, the key part of my grounding and physiology, right? The body needs to feel safe. And when I took away the grounding and the time in nature and the luxurious time for journaling and spending time in the sun and talking to butterflies, my body interpreted that as I'm not safe. We need to turn on the stress hormones. And then that increased my cortisol level. And so the cortisol is always going to have us in fight or flight. It's going to increase inflammation. It's going to reduce our ability to digest food. So I started having a lot of digestive issues. And it all was coming from what I was thinking. So for you, I want you to think about, okay, Dee says she's focusing on health. I want you to think about in the area that you want to make change in, what are the thoughts that are here, right? Another thought, if we're talking about health, is I'm like, I don't like cooking. I don't want to cook. I don't have time for cooking. I don't like cooking. I'm not good at it. I'm not a good cook. And so when I told myself that, I just wouldn't cook at all and I would get frozen dinners. Frozen dinners are high in sodium. They're not necessarily nutritious. So that was another thing that created results in my health that were not something that was useful for me, right? Okay. So you've got to get really, really clear on this. This might be the painful part, but this is imperative. And if you want to think about it, you can brain dump this. I call this trash thoughts exercise, where if you just think, okay, what are all the trashy thoughts I've been thinking? And what I do is I sit down and write like for 30 minutes in my journal. What are all the trash thoughts I've been thinking? I'm not good enough. I don't have time. This isn't working for me. Nobody likes me. I'm not a good public speaker. Nobody wants what I have to offer. People in this town don't want to buy what I have. Everybody says I'm too expensive. People don't value it. Or if there's anybody here focusing on relationship, right? Notice what recurring thought you have about your partner. Or if you're trying to date, notice that you have the thought, there's no good men out there anymore. Dating is so hard. I don't want to put myself out there. I'm embarrassed to go on dates. Or if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you have an automatic thought about that person. And typically it's going to be negative. Like, they're so annoying. Ugh, why are they like that? Ugh, I wish they wouldn't do that. Versus what we need to start doing is creating intentional thoughts. What do I need to be speaking and saying about my life, about my business, about my partner, about my health that's going to change the way I feel? What do I need to do to change my physiology? What I've started doing, especially I'll just use the partner one, for example. So I have some automatic negative thoughts. I've been married for 5 years, bless. And I have some automatic negative thoughts come up. And so when I hear them, I say two things inside my brain. The first thing I say is they're allowed. So I'll like notice a judgment coming up on like whatever they're doing. And then I'll take a deep breath and I'll usually sigh like, I'll feel into my body. Like, I'll become very present. I'll feel into my fingers, my toes, my back, my seat. And then I'll say, they're allowed. Like, they're allowed to be doing what they're doing. They're allowed. They're allowed. And as soon as I say they're allowed, it kind of lightens the mood. And so that helps me in any relationship where I'm like listening, watching, judging, to go, they're allowed. Yep, they're allowed to have that. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to think that. Okay. Let's think about health. One of the thoughts, I don't have time. One of the thoughts, I'm too old. I guess this is what happens when your body gets old. That really happens a lot for women as they approach 40 and they get beyond 40. I've seen it in myself. I started to have those thoughts creep in. And what I've decided is I get better and better with age. I am like a fine wine. I get sexier, I get richer, I become more loving. Every single year, I'm integrating everything I've learned. I show up in better ways. Like, I am continually spiritually connected. Like, I just keep telling myself what I want to think and feel on purpose. So first thing you need to do, download all the trash thoughts, write them down, see how they make you feel. And then we want to think, okay, what do I want to be thinking on purpose? And really, here's what I want everybody to think today. It's possible. So if you have a weight loss goal, it's possible. If you have a money goal, it's possible. If you have a relationship goal, it's possible. If you simply start with the thought, it's possible, that will help you to take action. And here's what I want you to think about today. What is one small action step that you can take today? And this can be symbolic or it can be tangible. And I'll give you an example. So let's say your goal is health. You're like, okay, I want to focus on my health. I've been telling myself I don't have time. I've been telling myself I'm too old. What I'm going to choose to think is it is possible. I'm worth it. I can do this. Baby steps are enough. You can do two things here, right? So something symbolic could be writing on a Post-it note, putting it on your fridge, I am worth it. Or moving my body feels good, right? Something like an affirmation that you put somewhere to remind you of your health goals. Now, what is something tangible, a tangible action? A tangible action could be you buy new walking shoes. Or it could be you reach out to a neighbor and say, hey, do you want to start walking tomorrow? Or you sign up for a free fitness class. You try one for free. Or you reach out to a personal trainer and do a consult. What is the action step you can take today, symbolic and tangible? And let's use this for business. So who here has a business goal? Type that in the chat if you have a business goal or a money goal. Because I like to use a couple different goals depending on what you're working on. So what I typically say is I help a lot of entrepreneurs double their revenue. What I typically say for a money goal is you've got to know. So for most people have a lot of anxiety about their money and about their bank accounts. So I would say the thought that's going to help you take action would be, it's just numbers. It's just numbers on a screen. It doesn't mean anything about me. I am safe to look at these numbers. And then I would challenge you to take a look at your numbers. Go look. How much money has come in for my business? How many clients have I signed? Feel the gratitude for what you've received, but also get really clear and be like, okay, I see that there's some probably more sales and marketing activity that I could be doing. And then you've got to think, what's one small action step I could take today? And if you're wanting to make more money and get more clients, you just have to, again, start with the thought, it's possible. Like it is possible for me to sign a client today. It's possible for somebody to show up in my DMs, in my email, but they need to know what you offer. They need to know how to reach out to you. They probably forgot about you or they didn't see your post. So think about what's the simplest action I could take to get a client today or to be on the path, right? A symbolic action for signing a client would literally be write your Post-it note. It's possible for me to sign a client today. It's possible that there's a client out there looking for me today. And then your tangible action could simply be a Facebook post. Hey, I'm open for clients. I help people with XYZ. Book a free call. Hey, here's what it's like to work with me. Click the link, book a session. The only reason you don't have the results that you want yet is probably because you have a series of thoughts followed by a series of actions or inactions that led to your current result. So you just got to get really clear. What's going on? Why are you here? What have you been thinking? How have you been feeling? And then we want to take into or step into action today. Okay? Yes. Bree says, I have a money goal and a health goal. Amazing. It is possible to sign a client today. Yes. And I think this is really good for Bree and anybody else. If you've got a money goal and a health goal, they're very similar, right? And I'll give you this example. The reason why they're very similar is because let's say you want to make $10,000 a month. I help a lot of clients get to six figures, right? That's making $8,000 a month or $10,000 a month would take you to 120K. And most people have this idea of like, I need to sign a client today. I need the money today. And that has them staying stuck, frozen, confused, overwhelmed, like very scarce, not offering value. And it tends to have them not focus on the long-term goal, which is I'm becoming the person who has 8K in my bank account. And so I want you to think about if you got a money goal or a health goal, this is actually a 6-month goal. So what I like to think about is I'm becoming healthier and healthier every day. I'm becoming wealthier and wealthier every day. What I do today matters for the future of my health and my business. Because a lot of times we'll have a hard workout. We'll be like, why didn't I lose weight yet? Then we'll go binge eat. And we'll just be like, well, that doesn't matter. So the underlying thing that I see sabotage us is telling us that what we do today doesn't matter. You've got to be thinking of compounded results. Compounded results means 1% at a time. So if you set your target for 6 months from now and you do 1% shift every day, you make an offer every day in your business, you show up in the energy of possibility every day in your business, you meet people, you make offers, you let them know how to help you, you keep going, you consistently show up as the version of you that has $8,000 in your bank account, you will become that person who eventually creates the result of 8K. It's the same thing with a health goal. You've got to tell yourself that who you're becoming is important, not just the weight loss part. But I am a strong person. I'm a person who runs 4 times a week. I'm a person who lifts weights 3 times a week. I'm a person who walks 6,000 steps a day. You tell yourself that you're that person, you take those actions, and then you will end up with a weight loss goal and a health goal of a stronger person in a fitter body, feeling more energetic. So you want to be thinking about the process of the money goal and the health goal instead of just thinking about, oh, I want to lose weight today. I want to make money today. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that lands for you, because you have to be involved daily in the process and you have to be able to fight your negative brain using new language, changing your energy, and then acquiring the skills, right? So what skills might you need to acquire to sell more? What skills might you need to acquire to become better at money? What skills would you need to acquire, or who would you need to hire to teach you the skills to know what to do with your health, right? Like maybe you need somebody doing your macros. I'm a former health coach, but I was in such a state of depression. I needed to hire another health coach to help me with my macros. I needed somebody to say, every Sunday, we're going to check in and we're going to make sure that you're getting your protein, because I was having such a hard time doing it on my own. So just because you can do it on your own doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can't do it on your own doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that sometimes we need support. Sometimes we need help. So that's why you want to stay engaged in this challenge. It's free. So we want you to stay engaged with this challenge. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to wrap up with. You've got a couple of questions. And Bree, since you're on here, I'm going to ask you to type these questions in the chat here. And then I'll also post in the Facebook group a summary of these questions, because this is your homework. All right. What do you want and why? Who will this impact? Who do I want to become on this journey? Now we got to look at where you are. How did I get here? What was I thinking? What have I been feeling? What actions have I been taking or not taking? And it's okay if you can't keep up, Bree, because I'll also post it in the group. Yep. Who will this impact? Who do I want to become on this journey and why? How did I get here? What was I thinking? What was I feeling? What actions have I been taking or not taking? And then the final piece. This is the part where you all are going to get points on this. So here's how it works. If you post any takeaways, any actions, any wins, any celebrations from this challenge, here's how it works. If you engage in the Facebook group and you answer these questions, you post your takeaways, you post your wins, you're going to get 5 points for any post that's inside the Facebook group. If you post outside the Facebook group, so if you post on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook and you tag me at Camy Kennedy and you celebrate your win or your action and you say, I'm taking part in this take action challenge. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm feeling. This is my takeaway. If you tag me outside of the group, you get 10 points. So again, every day I want you taking an action, posting it in the Facebook group, or if you want bonus points, if you want extra points, you post it outside the Facebook group and you'll get 10 points. So anything inside the Facebook group, you get 5 points. Anything outside of the Facebook group, you get 10 points. And if you are watching this in the future and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm behind, chill out. You're fine. Don't worry. You can post them all in one day. You can post them all. I'm going to give everybody until April 20th to do this. So today is the 15th. I'm going to give everybody till April 20th to do this because there's going to be people joining, taking action. You can do all of the videos in one day if you need to. But what I'm going to do on April 20th is I will announce the winners. I'm giving away over $1,000 in value. Day one, what I'm giving away. So the first person who posts, the person who posts the most, the person who gets the most points on day one. I like to always reward early action takers. You get in, you get it done. The person who stacks up the most points day one is going to win a free coaching call with me. 45-minute coaching session, strategy session on your business, on your health, on your relationship, whatever it is you're working on. I will coach you for free. You'll get one-on-one coaching with me. This is over a $250 value, but you have to play along. You have to engage. Okay. So let me see if there's anything else I want to say before we wrap up today. All right. If you are watching the replay, I want you to be engaging, #replay, comment so that I know you watched it. And then your homework, do these questions, do your self-reflections. I get so excited, I start yelling. Do the questions, do your self-reflections, post in the group if you want 5 points, post outside of the group on a public profile. Make sure you tag me. If you don't have a public profile, if you don't tag me, I'm not going to see it. So you need to make sure you can tag me, I can see it, and you will get 10 points. On day one, I will be awarding a 45-minute free coaching session with me. If anybody is watching this in the future, you have until April 20th to get this done. All right, before we hop off here, is there anything else you need help with? Is there any other questions you have? Is there anything unclear about the way we're going to do the challenge? I'm just checking the Facebook chat to make sure. Work. All right. I don't see any other questions coming in. So I'm going to assume that you all are brilliant, you're engaged, you're motivated, you're activated, and that you are going to take action today. And the only way that I know is if you post in the group or you tag me externally on Instagram, on Facebook, or on TikTok. All right? All right, Bree says, no, this is great for day one. Amazing. All right, I will see you all tomorrow, same place, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, Take Action Challenge. We will move on to our next steps. Have a good day. Bye.